I was in my room, my uncle was taking a shower, and suddenly I felt a tingling in my stomach, as if I were a 14-year-old teenager, but it wasn't that dirty tickle, it was the need to go to the bathroom. What I didn't know was that I would find my uncle taking a shower. What did I do? Well, I chose the most naughty option after leaving the bathroom. Some naughty thoughts crossed my mind. Yes, those types of playful thoughts, and at that moment, the only man I thought about was my uncle. A mischievous smile appeared on my face while my hands played with the idea of doing something I had never done before. My mother and sister were sleeping with no idea what was going to happen. Determined, I continued towards the stairs that led to the bedrooms. I had to make sure that none of them I was awake. The bedroom doors were closed and the lights were off. And inside, my mother was sleeping. What would my mother think if she saw me? It was better not to imagine that. In one thing, and I didn't let reason stop me, I approached the door. My sister's room. My hand shook a little as I turned the handle slowly so as not to make any noise. The door opened softly, and I looked out. The darkness reigned there, only broken by the dim light of a small lamp that my sister always let laughing escape. My lips a mix of nervousness and excitement. What I was about to do, I closed the door silently and went back into the hallway. My chest was still racing. So now I have an emotion that I can only describe how I would like. Yes, it was definitely a mix of nervousness and desire. I went downstairs wondering what the hell I was going to do with my uncle. Ideas swirled in my head, some bolder than others. For my little joke, for a moment, I felt like a girl preparing an innocent joke, but this wasn't exactly an innocent joke. My thoughts continued to go further than they should have, but I was already too involved in this to give up. I sat down, and I waited while my uncle was taking a shower, feeling increasingly nervous and more excited at the same time. I looked around just to make sure there was no one else around. Silence dominated the atmosphere, as if everything was prepared for my own scene. Time seemed to pass slowly, but my heart was beating faster and faster. Then when I heard the water stop and the bathroom door open, my uncle came out, still with drops of water running down his skin and his hair completely wet. "Sorry, Uncle," I blurted out quickly, trying to hide my expression, but my cheeks were already burning because they were so red. He stopped as soon as he saw me, clearly surprised to find me there. "What are you doing up at this hour?" he asked me with a somewhat suspicious smile while drying his hair with the towel. I bit my lip, thinking quickly how to continue with that joke. I couldn't sleep. Then I heard some noises and went downstairs to see if everything was okay. I lied, letting out a mischievous smile that made it clear he was up to something else, with which he looked at me. Curiosity, as if I was trying to understand what was happening. Noises? What kind of noises? Did he keep going on? I was following the game and keeping the pace. I felt a tickle in my stomach, but I was determined to continue. I thought he was a thief or something like that, but from what I see, it was just, you said, letting out a nervous laugh, letting out a slight flirtation in my words. He began to approach slowly with a look that showed he was curious to see how far this would go. "And now, Miss Detective?" asked, clearly having fun with the situation. I was playing with my clothes, pulling the hem of my shirt like someone trying to hide my nervousness. "I thought we could play a game," I suggested with a cheeky smile, making it clear that it wasn't just any game I was proposing. He raised an eyebrow, looking at me as if he was deciding whether to join the game or not. "A game," he repeated, as if considering the possible consequences. I shook my head firmly, feeling that pleasant nervousness that comes when you know you're about to cross a line of no return. "And well, do you dare?" I asked in an almost whispered tone. I challenged him with just my eyes. He was silent for a moment, as if he was contemplating his options, but then he smiled and approached me. "Okay, let's play," he said. He said with a smile that made it clear that he already knew where this was going to lead. All this, the tension in the air increased as we exchanged looks full of challenges and unspoken promises. It was a mix of excitement and fear, as if the adrenaline of what had happened, forbidden to flow freely between us. When we entered, we sat very close, the smiles revealing what we knew was about to happen. The distance between us shortened until I could feel your warm breath mixing with mine. "You have courage," I whispered, almost inaudible, with my heart beating so fast that it felt like it wanted to come out of my chest. He just smiled mischievously, his eyes shining like he was playing a game. The air grew thicker, anticipation and desire floating in the atmosphere. My hands were shaking slightly, the heat rising through my body. It felt like time had frozen, leaving just the two of us suspended in that moment of pure temptation. We both knew what was about to happen, but neither dared to take the first step. The silence of the house seemed to merge with the rapid beats of my heart, creating a melody that only the two of us could hear. "I don't know, and you have courage," he replied with a low voice full of malice. That defiant tone he had. My heart beat even faster. I could feel his closeness, the heat of his breath mixing with mine, and it consumed me, traveling through every part of my body. Every little space that still separated us felt like an invitation to cross the last line. The intense look he gave me, it made a shiver run down my spine, and then slowly he leaned towards me. The contact was soft at first, but soon the passion enveloped us completely. It was an instant that broke barriers, releasing feelings that had been stored for so long. At the same time, I clung to him, and he wrapped me tightly as if he wanted to protect me. And at the same time, he yearned for me with the same intensity that I felt for him. When it was all over, we both smiled and looked at each other with a mixture of surprise and complicity, aware of what was happening that we had just shared. "I think we should," I started to say, but the words stuck, unable to express the whirlwind of emotions inside me. He just nodded softly, completing what I wanted to say. With a friendly look, "Yes, I think we should. Leave him here tonight," he said with a calm smile, making me feel that somehow everything would be okay between us. He left my room, and I was left making the bed. Each of us lost in thought. We knew that tonight had just finished, the beginning of something sensational and exciting, something only the two of us knew. If you want to know the details of what happened at that moment, I invite you to access WhatsApp and Telegram, which are in the video description coming soon. You will be able to see everything there like this. Whoever participated, I confess that that night was sensational for me. No one else found out what happened between my uncle and me. It was our first adventure together, a moment we wanted for a long time. Sometimes the best stories are those that are kept under lock and key so that you don't know. I haven't told anyone about them until now. I lay in bed remembering every detail with a mix of satisfaction and enthusiasm. The way our eyes met, the relationship that was born between us at that moment and feeling. Having crossed a line that I had wanted for so long was like we had done something we never thought would happen. And although at first I was a little scared, it was also exciting. I realized that we both felt something, and we couldn't deny it. More so, if you are interested in knowing the details, don't hesitate to join the WhatsApp and Telegram channel. I'm sure you'll love hearing the full story. What do you think of everything I did that night? What do you think of what happened to my uncle? I know that what happened could be a little controversial, that not everyone will understand what happened that night between my uncle and me. But I also know that I am a single woman who likes to have fun. And have fun, do you think I was wrong? Or do you think I should just enjoy without thinking about the consequences? The truth is that I wonder if what I did that night was right, although at the time everything seemed sensational. Now comes the big question. Would you have the courage to get involved with someone so close, or do you think there are limits that should never be? Crossed paths for me that night with my uncle. It was something unforgettable, one of those crazy things you indulge in and just think about enjoying the moment. But I know that for many this may seem bad, maybe even shocking. Of course, I understand that some will see what I did as a mistake or even like a sin. Maybe for others, it was something very risky and impulse out of control. But honestly, what would life be without a little risk, living in fear of what others will think for themselves? It keeps us sometimes following our own agenda. Desires leads us to discover more about who we really are. That's why I'm here sharing my story, not to justify my actions, but to share a part of my life with you. I know that not everyone will understand or accept this, and that's okay. No, do I hope you all agree, but I also hope you don't judge me too quickly because we all make mistakes at some point. Anyway, I'm curious to know what you think. Tell me in the comments what you think. I want to know your opinion.